Hey folks, this is episode 2 of Darling the Franxx Trigger Bois, where we watched episode 2 of Darling the Franxx. Today we have me, Vamp the Vampire, the best vampire in town. And we have Lucifer Lucy.
Hey everybody, I am trapped in a man's body.
Hell yeah. And we also have Munsy.
I'm out of pizza rolls and I'm sad.
Oh no.
What a tragedy.
Oh yeah. But we have Darling the Franxx here, which is more important than pizza rolls.
What a awful fucking comfort that is.
That is a lie.
It's comforting to me. I like
Alright.
it. Alright, so I think we should start off with the OP. How'd we like it? And if we didn't, how did we not like it?
Okay, so the OP was pretty alright, I thought. There was a weird thing in there about there were these really fucking low quality JPEG images that were cut up in paint and then pasted onto the screen, and I fucking hated it. It was super distracting. But the music was pretty good. It looked like a normal anime action OP, which is something I'm into. It gets me hype every time.
Oh.
And it makes me want to like this show.
Join the club, Lucy. Other than I actually like it.
You didn't like this, Munsy, right?
I did not. I did not like the Darling and the FranXX opening. I guess I didn't like it. I thought it was pretty subpar. I wasn't crazy about the song, but that is strictly a matter of personal taste. I can't really say much about the song. I just thought it was pretty boring and unexciting. And then just what the opening itself, I didn't think did any, the animation in the opening didn't really do anything to stick out as anything anything interesting. I wasn't hyped for the show. Granted, I was already not hyped for the show, but I don't really think the opening did anything to get me more excited to see Darling in the FranXX
Definitely
episode
didn't
2.
help.
And I think that is to its downfall.
Yeah, I get that. For me, it was I liked seeing all the Darling and the FranXX stuff with all the cleaner animation and the sound quality that sounded right, and the song playing. I was like, damn, I wish this was good.
So I will say, and this will be a spoiler for later.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
I liked the ending though. But we'll
I
get
feel
there
the
when we get
opposite
there.
of you, Munsy.
Oh,
I love the opening.
I'd love to hear about this.
Ending kind of trash. Ending song, boring, subpar.
I don't remember the
Man,
ending song.
Okay, I'm excited now.
Ooh.
I should address that I was baked as fuck watching this. So I'm not gonna remember everything.
Don't
It
worry.
definitely colored my experience. By the way, Darling the FranXX way better when you're high as hell.
I missed
it's a
out.
tip
Had
for
the
you folks out there.
opportunity, I missed it.
Incredibly so.
Wait, take pointers from Lucy. This is how you watch
Yes.
anime. And as does Dizzy Bro.
Oh yeah, you gotta inject marijuana into your fucking bloodstream, dude.
Oh yeah.
That's how I do it.
All right. So we start off the episode with Hero, our hero. Not remembering how that he piloted the FranXX. That's really all we learned from the first scene before the opening. And then we see a quick flash after the opening of Hero planting the bird that was wrecked in the first episode.
Oh, it was the
Right.
bird. That's what it was. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing a little memorial for Naomi because they thought he died.
That's
Yeah.
actually what I thought it was.
But
too.
she didn't fucking die.
She's not dead. She's not dead?
Yeah, it's
No.
revealed right after that
Yeah,
scene.
Yeah, right after that, he sees blue-haired girl, tsundere girl.
Ichigo. Come on.
Ichigo is her name. I don't care. I really don't.
Wait, was this the girl who abandoned him in the first episode, or was this the girl with the
Girl that has a
squeaky
crush
head?
on him.
Okay, never mind. Well, I knew she was alive because they have sex later.
Oh, they
hell
banged
yeah.
so hard. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
But yeah, we find out that Naomi didn't die, which I thought was bullshit.
Why didn't she? Why did we think she died?
Because her
she gets in
canister
this
thing
pod,
was destroyed.
And then she gets like the Calaxosaur comes, which I learned that it's called a Calaxosaur.
Yeah, I learned that too.
And it came, and it knocked her into a fucking ravine, but she's fine apparently, which is stupid.
Oh yeah, plot armor. To a character we'll never see again. I might add. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense to bring her back.
And before she comes back as saves the day because she's been training with like a god or some shit.
Right.
Oh no, that'd be I would lose faith. Yeah. So after that scene, the house scene, one of the best scenes in anime, period. This is where 02 is just eating at the table, throwing honey all over her meat, and just making just doesn't give a fuck.
How the fuck
I want to
is that
throw
a
my
really
honey
good
all
scene?
over her meat.
That scene. Wait, what did you say that scene was? Did you say that was a good scene?
Best scene in all of
Yes.
anime.
Best
One of
scene
the
all
best.
You understand that scene was done 10 years ago in the fucking movie Elf, right?
It's true. This
You
is
see,
true.
I don't
stole
like
that
Elf.
from the-
That's the problem.
They stole it from the movie that you don't like. So
This is proof that like I said, this show has done nothing original. Nothing.
Yeah.
They're stealing from Elf.
Also-
That's how much they're grasping at straws to
The
get
Christmas
ideas,
movie
'cause
Elf.
They have no original ideas. I'm just memeing, but yeah, fuck that.
So in this scene, this is where the comparison that David made in our comment section in the previous video to between 02 and Haruko start making a lot more sense to me. Because holy shit, do I get that in this whole dining sequence.
So I actually think I know what you're getting at, and that's just her being a very sexual character, kind of.
Her being sexual and her being weird.
Yeah, kind of her
Being a
kind of
pragmatic
leading
hedonist.
on Hero, right? You're my darling. Oh, I'm sitting on your lap.
Yeah.
We're gonna pilot together later, if you know what I mean, right?
Ooh.
I get that, but I think the big difference here, between and actually in this scene, I realized because I was talking to a friend, and he was telling me because I said I really didn't like the lake scene, because I thought they were just making this character sexualized for no reason. He was like, I think this show is just going to be very sexual in general, and he was right. You see it in the opening. And
this show is about sex.
Yes. And she in this scene, very sexual. And I really do believe that she is a sexual person and not just a character that is made to be sexualized.
Which is rad as fuck.
Which I definitely
yeah.
like better than in the first episode. I still think it's kind of meh. It still doesn't impress me that much. But I definitely... Mainly because... Hero is like a beta male cuck boy, who doesn't actually do anything. There's a girl standing in front of him that wants to suck his dick right there, and he's not doing anything, and that's annoying.
He's not even that beta about it, because he was kind of alpha-y later. It's sort of a mixed bag. He just strikes me as a fucking normie.
I think they're trying to characterize him as a very focused, very not narrow-minded, but tunnel vision type character.
Which makes him so hard to fucking relate to.
Exactly. It's just boring, you know?
It's I see him and I'm just how autistic do you have to be this focused on the thing that was put in front of you? You know
Yeah,
what
I don't
mean?
think we're supposed to relate. It's definitely not the goal in A1 or Trigger's mind when making Hero.
It's a wink and a nod. A wink and a nod.
Yeah.
Hurrah.
But what I had to say was that I thought it was really interesting. But the difference between her and Haruko is that 02 is, I think, actually planning on fucking Hero. I think she's into the. I don't think she's just kind of leading him on into nothing. Where that was Haruko's plan all along. Haruko is just a shitty tease.
Well, also they already did have sex.
Basically, yeah.
Because as fucking I'm gonna talk about, The piloting the FranXX together is them having sex, so they've already had sex.
Yes.
It at least looks very much like it. To a
No,
ridiculous
no,
degree.
you have no idea. Let's move on so we can get there.
Oh yeah.
I'm about it.
So I just wanna, before leaving that scene, I just wanna say how satisfying it is to hear 02 say "darling" or "Boku no
Right.
darling." I just eat it up. It's my
I
breakfast,
thought-
lunch, and dinner.
I thought it was nice. I thought it stood out as something that someone was like, oh yeah, that's okay. It's one of those things that makes the show like not a fucking steaming pile of trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Did any of you notice that, like, in that scene after she said "Boku no darling" or "darling," I forget what she said specifically. Ichigo cuts like a tomato like right afterward as like comedic timing, because she's like, "What did I just hear?" And it was the most hilarious thing, and I laughed a lot.
Really?
It's ridiculous. I really liked that.
I would also like to point out that in this scene we are introduced to fuckboy bully character.
He's such a beta.
Oh boy.
In the show.
Oh boy.
He's the shortest one and the scrawniest.
Yeah, he's shortest, scrawniest.
He's a
full
Shota.
of anger and energy. And
I
want
to fuck him.
All he does is just want to fuck everything that walks.
Yeah, I'll do that for him.
And starts fight with anybody that wants to that tries to talk to a girl ever.
Fuck, he
and
was
he's
really
annoying and I
hot.
don't like him.
Yeah. He's definitely obnoxious because he has like the trigger obnoxious face later, but we'll get to that.
I also really hated that he was like the main antagonist of this episode. Because he's annoying and I don't like him.
Yeah.
He's just irritating whenever he's on the screen. But the problem is that I know that Hiro is not strong enough to do anything about it yet, so he just has to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's so annoying.
See, whenever it was fine for me because whenever he was on screen, I was just thinking about how I wanted to pull his little boy shorts down and like, you know.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh man.
Hey, that works for you.
He was cute.
A cute little boy. But he's annoying.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So the next scene is this weird like scene where you see this, what I'm gonna call like the council. These people that just seem in power, and they have like the white and gold like outfits with like the masks on.
They are very generic people in power.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, here's something I can talk about. So I looked up some shit about the show. I listened to some other people talking about it. I learned more about the lore of the show, actually.
Oh.
So this does take place on Earth, and it's like post-apocalyptic. So like Earth's resources are used up, and like everything's dead, and it's a giant desert. And then this is like humanity's last hope kind of thing. Like humanity put together this like rolling city, and then this is like kind of it for humanity.
Wow.
So everybody
undefended
here
last
is-
hope.
Yeah.
Are there
As-
like
as
are
we
there
talked about,
are there
entirely
multiple
undefended.
versions? Are there like multiple settlements like this, or is
To
this
my
just it?
understanding, no.
So
this
all these
is-
orphan kids, because their parents died in the apocalypse,
Yes.
these are the only people because everybody else, they're the only children. Everyone else.
This
adult.
is at least like the only. Pretty much the way that it was written is like this isn't the last city because they didn't say that specifically, but this is the last city that we're gonna see. Like
Huh.
they're kind of like there
Now-
might be like other people or something.
No, I
But
have
they're not important.
I have an important question that I know you don't know the answer to, and it's fine. I'm gonna ask
boy.
it.
Oh boy.
Mainly if all right, if you made this show, if you're part of the staff that
If
created
I
this
made
show,
this
I have a
show.
question for you. Why don't we know that from the episodes yet? Or at least have a hint to it. Right? Because all I see now is this fucking random desert dome bullshit thing with a domed forest and whatever, and there's no explanation for why that's the way people live. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Show not tell.
What are they showing me to make me know that they're in this post-apocalypse with
They
fucking
showed a
dome cities that roll
globe, and it
around.
was a desert, and it's sci-fi, and it's a dome.
It's
So
just-
obviously,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the dome thing has actually been done before in Chrome Shelled Regios, a good anime as well.
Oh, that is not a good anime. I don't know
I
what
like
you're
it.
talking about.
We'll do that on the Chrome Shell.
I dropped that after 5 minutes.
Hell
I would
yeah.
like to comment again on this kind of council session, right? Of these
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of like elite, powerful people, and the kind of setting that they're in, with their chairs are all up on their pedestals and whatnot. I imagine they're all holograms, because there's no way for them to get into their seats unless their seats kind of like lift up high. So this is actually a trope that I hate. Which are these kind of like elaborate kind of elite council areas
Yeah, it's dumb.
that are impractical and have no reason for existence.
Yeah.
You know what it really reminds me of, which is way better because it makes more sense and also involves characters that we care about, as just like a part of watching the show, is the fucking like council-y like chair thing from Future Diary.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah, very similar. That it reminded me
Yeah.
of that. And it's
Except
repeated
those were
in
like
a lot of
actually
different
characters
things.
that we were following and shit.
And I can kind of see the justification for them using it, which is like it creates something a little more visually interesting instead of a bunch of people sitting around talking.
in a cafe.
Yeah, in a cafe or
Oh,
around a
that's
conference
place.
table for that matter, right? But I think
Yeah.
there's an easy solution to allow them to just talk around a conference table, even holograms or not, to talk around a conference table, and that's what I like to call good directing. And if you don't
Yeah.
believe that you could direct the scene well like that, let me point to a nice movie where that's the entire thing, and it's called 12
Ghost
Angry
in
Men.
the Shell.
No. 12 Angry Men. They did it for 2 hours in a movie of well-directed people talking around a conference table, and that movie came out 70 years ago.
That's a fucking live action movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
Directing
Yeah, we
is
don't watch
directing,
those
my
around
dude.
here.
I was
Alright.
gonna say
You haven't seen 12 Angry Men, the anime?
Alright.
I watched Ghost in the Shell yesterday, and Ghost in the Shell involves a lot of like people standing around bullshit, but it's really cool
Yes, because it's well-directed.
because it's well directed and
All
has
right,
nice
I have a
background art.
counterpoint to this. So, why would the creators put work into a scene such as the councils
they put work into a scene?
if it doesn't matter? Those characters don't matter. All they did
Why would they put work into a scene is to make it good.
it was less than a minute scene.
Why would you... no, here's a really good question. Why
But-
would you
but
put in a
if you're-
scene that doesn't matter?
That's a way better question. If you're gonna make a show and you're gonna have it be good, you gotta make every fucking moment good one way or another. Like you can't just be like, oh, this scene doesn't matter, so we just won't try.
And I wouldn't even
Like,
say that the
that
scene
is
doesn't
not
matter,
the
right?
hallmark
'Cause
of a good
this
anime.
this is a way to include exposition into your show.
And maybe explain the whole like apocalypse thing.
That's not explained in the scene.
They did
except
give us some information, but we'll get to
a
that
little
in a
bit.
second.
Yeah, they did a little bit. But in terms of the visuals of the scene, it's boring, it's pointless, and I don't like it. They could just be holograms around a little table.
Yeah, so the table
But they're
wouldn't have made
holograms.
it
It
any
doesn't
better
matter
for
where
me.
they are. Or at least I'm
Yeah.
assuming they're holograms because they were before.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so no one cares about the table or the non-existent table that you want to exist.
I care about it. I care about it.
I mean, we've already talked about it, so yeah, let's get to this. So, what we learn is that the parasites that pilot with 02, we learn this in the scene, age rapidly. All right.
They do.
That's revealed to us. That makes sense because the other guy was old that died in the first episode.
Right.
I was a little
He was
confused
probably
about
like,
that.
like how old was that guy? Like how old is our hero protagonist?
How old is Hero?
Yeah.
Or
Like how old is he
like
actually?
14 or 16 or something like that.
No, but if
Something like
if
that.
they rapidly age, like how many
But
years has he been alive?
Heroes he's what's it called? Immune. Yeah, that's what you
What?
also learned in
Is
that
that
scene.
confirmed? In,
What?
Is
That's
that what's
confirmed.
confirmed? Okay.
What?
In the scene.
Why is he immune?
I don't know. They're destined. Shut up, Baka.
Yeah.
Why is that even an important like plot armor thing to write in? Why do we care?
Why?
It doesn't matter. It
because
doesn't matter that they rapidly age, and it doesn't matter that he doesn't. Like, how the fuck is that relevant to anything that's gonna happen?
So I was
It's
thinking
just
in
a
episode
justification
1.
for Hero to be able to pilot this mech with 02 for 24 episodes.
How?
Yeah, I was gonna say that
Just
in
make
episode
him half
1.
robot dinosaur. It doesn't matter.
No, that's even more ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
All right, so my point is just in episode 1, I was actually thinking that like they're gonna like, even though they weren't drawing attention to the 3 times thing, other than like the first scene in the episode where they talk about 02, the other
That was
classmates, they said like, oh yeah, they can't survive more than 3 times in the FranXX with them. So I was thinking, hey, they're gonna limit the times that Hero can get into the FranXX with 02 until they boost together. But no, that's not happening, as we learned in this scene. But yeah. So the parasites, they're suiting up. The new scene is they're suiting up for to pilot the FranXX.
Oh,
I
yes,
like this
they were
scene.
suiting up.
Yeah, what a scene.
They spray paint the suits on.
Yes.
Well, I wanted
Why?
to say something more important before that happens. Before they spray paint, they're in the locker rooms and they're changing, right? The boys'
Yeah.
scene, whatever, they just talk about shit, they bicker about girls or whatever.
Yeah. This
And
is
then-
where
and then
I
in the
learned
girls'
that I wanted to
locker
have
room.
sex with a Shota.
We get this beautiful fan service.
Oh
this,
my god, the butt,
this
butt
ta-
scene that I sent you guys a gif
tasteful,
of.
mature,
Oh yeah.
justified fan service.
This
And all
part-
of
and
I say
actually-
all of that with complete satire and
There
irony
was some
and
shit.
sarcasm.
So this reminds me of some shit from the first thing that I didn't talk about. Is that something that I commented on in the first episode was that there was no comedy, which surprised the hell out of me. And also we didn't talk about it as directly, but there wasn't really fan service outside of maybe the lake scene, which seemed like different. And here there were stupid ecchi jokes and ecchi moments like everywhere. And it was like, oh, we're just doing that now.
I thought it was pretty dumb.
It was dumb. Because something that I, was able to appreciate about the show that you mentioned, Munsy, was that they were, trying really hard to be melodramatic and were, they weren't going to do stupid joke scenes and, sex stuff to, sacrifice the tone. But now we're doing it anyways. There was just comedy in the middle of, the fight stuff later. The action stuff.
It was,
I never thought it was very tonal or anything. It's always
totally
been kind of
tonal. I mean, what?
That's the feels I got from
You thought
the
the first episode
show.
was funny?
Yeah, it wasn't really too ridiculous with the tone at all. And then in this episode, they just abandoned any even glimpse that we could have at some weird tone. Yeah,
I would say that this episode definitely felt incredibly different in tone than the first one. And it was kind of jarring and unwelcome.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like the ecchi and the comedy stuff makes it feel more like, I referenced this in my vlog that I made last night, more like an A1 style generic action ecchi comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, come on, guys. Mindless self-indulgence. That's what we need. Maybe not mindless. I know Munsy isn't into that.
Self-indulgence.
Well, I'll indulge in it for you too.
I'm just gonna go watch
You'll
hentai
you'll
instead,
rebel to
or
anything.
I'll watch Kill la Kill or something.
Yeah.
If I want good fan service.
I mean, except
Fuck it,
not,
I'll
'cause
even
we're gonna
watch
be
fucking
watching the-
High School DxD. You know, I'll watch some self-aware
High School-
goodness
High School DxD is really good.
because it knows what it's doing. With
Don't
its
forget
fan
High
service.
School of the Dead.
That too. It's fine. They're all fine.
All right, so
The show, not good fan service.
So the next scene is they actually pilot the FranXX and they just walk out and stand.
That was so. Oh, these FranXX are designed so weird.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Very Not my thing at all. I can
I
definitely
realized
say.
one of the things that made them seem so weird to me before, they have faces.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have like anime
They have
girl
faces, yeah, that express the emotions and the
What
facial features
the
of the girl pilots.
what in the
Yeah, it's so
living
weird.
hell was going through the artist's mind when they drew these things?
It was so, and they all had their own they were stylized to fit the girl pilot of the
Which
mechs.
seemed so strange to me because sometimes you would have the pink girl with the stockings, the pink mecha girl with the stockings, and just have Shota's voice come out of it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I do have to say though,
It's a very interesting
I would
dynamic.
fuck that mech.
I would not fuck that mech.
I would fuck all
those
those
are
mechs.
incredibly uncanny for me, like super uncanny. Valley.
Really? I mean, this is really just
Yeah.
an extension of me saying like I would fuck like the girls in the show.
Yeah, I would fuck the girls in the show too.
For
but,
some
like,
now
who
that
cares?
now that we get to see them kind of in motion and kind of doing more things, I do have to say that the character designs are a little bit are better. In motion, these character designs still I think are pretty terrible, but once they're in motion, they're a lot more expressive, and I definitely appreciate that from the show. And we didn't really get that in the first episode. So good on them for at least animating the character designs well, because they're pretty boring from still shots.
Yeah, I agree completely.
That being said, I still do not like I do not like the animation of Zero Two just because I don't like Zero Two as a character, and so even though the motion of Zero Two is expressive for her as a character, and it works for her, I just don't like it because I don't like her.
Yeah, I get you. For me, me thinking that she is like a character that I can like latch on to some degree, it's been pretty good. I think that first dining scene with her was like really, it was nice.
Oh yeah.
I do appreciate that she is a glutton though, because gluttony is good.
That's an anime meme.
I like girls that eat food.
Yeah, and I like girls that are weird as fuck.
Oh yeah.
So.
All right, I want who wants to describe how the characters how they stand in the cockpit of the FranXX.
Okay, so
our
I would like
meme here. This is.
I would like to hold on.
You go, Lucy.
I would like to talk about the cockpits first. I really like some of the shots that were like of the interior of the cockpit, where there was one shot with the Shota-boy where it was like him like kind of standing up, because that's how the males do it, because they're standing up there like humping the girls. And so it was him, and then you saw outside it was like this vast desert like through this sort of glass, and I was like, that actually looks like really cool. Like that made me excited about mechs for like a hot second, which I've never really felt before. Which was nice. I was like, ooh, standing inside of a mech looks like a really cool video game.
VR baby.
So they're having sex when they're in the mechs. The people who are they're male and female pairs, because this show hates queers, and that means that they're a couple. And then them piloting a mech together is a metaphor for like teenage sex, and it makes Zero Two even more like Haruko, and also it was totally like adding on top of it's a sex metaphor. I'm not fucking kidding. Like
Yeah, like the female.
Blatant. It is blatantly. There's a scene. There's a part where Shota-boy says to blue-haired girl, "Hey, I'll pilot the mech with you, just to prove that Hero's like not a good pilot."
Exactly.
And then the girl in the mech with Shota-boy is like, "You're hitting on another girl now?
Exactly.
How dare you?" I'm like, "Fuck you."
Exactly. It's monogamy.
Are they like actually? Because like this is another thing that blows my mind, right?
It's
is
monogamy.
It's very
in anime.
confusing.
Monogamy in the mech anime.
Is that like they don't know about sex, kissing, like that's an unknown concept to them.
Yeah, they've been like sheltered to that stuff.
They talk about like terms like dating when they say hitting on another girl, right? And there's how the girl is embarrassed about kissing the guy too. And I was like, that's if you don't know about sex, right, and there's no concept of like it being embarrassing or shameful because you don't know what it is, because that's a societally created concept, then why is it embarrassing or shameful for like anybody to talk to anything, especially the term hitting on? And this may be a translational error, mistake in the translation.
Well,
But the attitude is still there, you know?
Yeah, it's one of those anachronisms where it makes, like, a lot of people will pass it over because it makes sense in our society, in like, the context being a human being on planet Earth generally, especially if you're a fucking normie. So that's just taken for granted for a lot of people, and so they're not going to think about it. They're just going to glaze over it, you know? Like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on terms of them having sex in the mechs,
Which doesn't actually happen, by the way, folks.
yeah. If for some reason you are watching this without having seen, Darling in the Franxx, they don't actually have sex, but
it's just like the females in the doggy position.
Yeah, the girl gets down on her hands and knees, and is like sticking her butt up, and then there's like handles that the guy grabs onto that are coming out of her butt, on like each butt cheek, and like holds onto them.
I'm looking at the screenshot and it's so hot.
And yeah, I'm looking at a screenshot right now of it, and for the girl, it looks so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Like, and why that is the way that this needs to be done, like why this is the way they need to design the mechs is beyond me.
So
aside from
weird.
making, because it's completely impractical
in the context of the universe where like somebody built this and they were like, this is how our piloting system has to work. This is the most engineering efficient way for our pilots to operate these giant robots.
Yes,
is for them to look like they're fucking.
I get the metaphor of sex.
Butt handles.
Exactly.
Literally.
Butt handles.
Like what?
And it's just beyond me why they thought this was a good idea to design the inside of a mech.
They're trying to
like
state the inherent dynamic
fucking-
between men and women. This is clear. They're very intellectual. This is not a meme. I
Not
am memeing.
inherent. It's not inherent.
Yes.
It really blows my mind, because I understand like yeah, sure, sexual metaphors, whatever. Whatever they end up doing with the massive amounts of sexuality and innuendo in the show.
I can't believe this show exists.
That's moderately interesting, right? I mean,
Kill la Kill
guess.
already explored sexuality in terms of combat and fighting and whatnot.
but yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes with mechs, even though Evangelion did like a very similar thing like 20 years before. But I'm still really interested to see like where they
Guys,
take kind of exploring sexuality in mechs, you know?
I just realized something. This show is Evangelion.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh,
I hate when
Shut
people
the
compare it
fuck
to
up.
that. Oh
Everybody
no.
who thinks that the show is like Evangelion, it's not like Evangelion. Stop.
Oh yeah.
Stop.
But
All right.
I will say, really impractical mech designs. I don't understand why they do it. They could very easily have not done it, and they could have very easily explored the sexuality of it through practical
Munsy.
mech designs.
Sex is hells.
As it turns out, you can use metaphors without like making them incredibly obvious. Like they don't have to look like they're fucking.
Though
For us to
I
like
just
understand it with good writing.
though I just had the genius idea that I will be willing to sell to any anime studio.
Here we go.
At this moment of making an anime where a man and a woman pilot a mech, and they literally have to have sex to pilot it.
Oh fuck, that would.
And
be
it's
the
like
best
super
hentai
etchy,
ever.
and like it's just basically porn. That would be amazing.
It should
And
just
if any
definitely be an
anime
etchy
studio
show.
wants to do it, I will sell you that for a price that you cannot turn down.
Well, it's open source now since it's on the internet.
Fuck.
$10. Buy me lunch, Trigger, and you can have my fuck show.
Yo, if
Idea.
the staff of Trigger wants to take me out to lunch, They can have it. All
Oh,
right,
that
I'll
would-
eat.
that would
I'll
be
eat lunch
cool,
with
yeah.
Trigger.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'd take that. Yeah. Hell yeah.
If my god Hiroyuki Imaishi's there, then
He's like, tell me more about this mecha fucking idea that you got.
he's
going
like, I'm
on."
into it. Anywho,
Perfect.
Jerking off under the table at Applebee's.
Oh, no.
Oh.
All right. Next scene, I
They
dubbed
fight.
02X Ichigo. All right, it's great. Basically, 02X Ichigo. You know Ichigo.
Yeah, what about it?
when they're like, "You're not one of us," kind of scene.
Oh, yeah.
Stop messing with Hero. Don't lead him on. That's what Ichigo said. And then 02 licks her. It says that she's sweet.
Yeah, that was nice.
I like
Yes.
that scene.
It was fine. It made sense. I would be surprised if that scene didn't exist.
Yeah, it just kind of recontextualized your character. All that scene said to me was like, oh, Ichigo's not a bad guy in the long term. Because the show was just like, yeah, she's actually a good person, though.
And
I was
Ichigo's
like,
got the
I don't-
hots for Hero, obviously.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I don't really care about this anymore.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like, what if we controlled her being a controlling cunt? Like, what if we framed her being, like, a bad person? Like, maybe that could be interesting.
Yeah.
But it's like, as it
Or
is, I
just
don't-
really kind of like a
I don't
confused person, you know?
Well, that's...
Kind of
Even
discovering
more
her own
boring.
sexuality.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, if we were like, okay, she's
Wow,
confused, so
wouldn't that
let's-
be interesting?
Let's explore her sexuality. That I'd be into. They already just think that she's like they're presenting her as like a good person who's like a tad misguided in this particular instance.
Yeah, I'd like to see in episode 3. I'd really like to see a scene where kind of she kind of thinks back on the kiss and like has it be an impactful moment for her.
Oh yeah.
Because if they just pass it off as like as just like an awkward kiss scene where it didn't really do anything because she wasn't 02, then that would be pretty lame. But I'd like this show would be really interesting if it really goes in a direction of like these kids discovering their sexuality
Yeah.
through piloting these mechs. That would be interesting.
That might be where we're at very loosely. This might be all we get. What I'm trying to
hope
say
so.
here
That'd
is
be interesting.
I think we're already getting that, and I think that's just how bad it is.
Is that's just their best way of doing it?
Yeah, it's like what we already saw this episode was just them exploring their sexuality.
It was so poorly done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. Next scene is I'm gonna call RC Anime. Our little Shota.
Over here.
Oh.
Yes. He kicks a basketball at Hero, and they get into a quote unquote fight.
Fuck that.
Don't they like push
Dickhead.
each other a little bit or something?
Yeah, that's literally it.
They tussle a little bit and then they get separated.
Instantly.
Which is good. I'm fine with that. This kid's an asshole.
Oh yeah.
He is a literal bully. And everyone just is like, "Hey, stop being a bully." And then he keeps being a bully, and they're like, "Well, I guess he's just a bully."
Yeah.
They don't say that, but they just keep letting him do it.
I feel
which
like
is
it's
annoying.
the Japanese sentiment of, hey, Hero's not actually being useful to us right now, so we can't really like Shota isn't like unjustified here completely. So let's just leave the situation for now.
Is his name Shota? Is his
No.
name actually Shota?
No.
Okay, because you keep referring to you as Shota, and I was saying Shota Boy.
I should have
which
said
isn't-
Shota Boy.
Which is redundant, but
Yeah, it is.
but I didn't know what his actual name was.
Neither do I.
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter. He's unimportant to
I
my
just
life.
learned Ichigo because she's just relevant to Hero, and I think she's a cool
so
character.
Cute.
But
I picked her out of the fucking lineup of the shitty original shots of all of the side characters, and I was like, she's really cute.
Yeah,
And
she's very
so
striking.
but
Though originally I was attracted to her because I thought she would be like a edgelord kind of character, but she's not that at all. She's like actually really fucking like normie as shit. She's like a lawful neutral.
Yeah,
Kinda
she
like-
is the squad leader
Mm.
of the kids.
Yeah, it was gay. I
I
don't like her character at all.
I would like to say I wish Hero was more insistent on piloting with 02, right? Because in the beginning.
But he's a beta.
He is a beta, but we see in the beginning he says, if I can't pilot these mechs, I can do nothing. And Zero Two gave me the chance to do that, right? So it doesn't hurt him at all to, like, do everything in his power to pilot mechs with Zero Two, right?
I mean, he did try, like, until it was like,
mentions
hey,
it, but he
you
doesn't,
can't
like,
do it.
Insist. He's
Yeah,
like,
but-
oh, I guess not. Oh, it's a shame.
Can't fight the establishment, I guess.
Like, it doesn't do anything for him
Well-
to, like, keep trying because they already know it's not going to work, you know?
How rebellious.
Which I would also like to say, this entire episode basically was just to prove that, like, the way this episode was that Hero can't pilot mechs with anybody but Zero Two, which we already kind of knew.
Yeah.
Kind of
Just
redundant.
told us.
So yeah, we discovered that he can't use mechs in the next scene,
Yeah, the
where they're
really,
actually like
really
mock
hard.
battling after their Shota and Hero's like little fight. They're like, hey, one of them says like, I challenge you to like a battle or whatever, and like it just so happens like the council was like, hey, we want a mock battle with Hero piloting a FranXX. So it, like, just coincidentally like worked out for them. So yeah, in the battle, it was Shota and, you know, red pigtails girl, and it was Ichigo and Hero. And yeah, the fight basically went, Hero can pilot. Oh yeah, he can. He just moving the arms. Oh, he's walking now. But once they get like right to the other mech and it swings the baton, they just kind of like desynchronize and like fall to the ground. Hero and Ichigo in the mech, and it was an annoying scene for me.
Well, what I actually really appreciate about it is that if you're viewing it through the lens of it being a sex metaphor, what this scene has like kind of underpinning it is like, in order to like fuck right, they have to communicate about like how it makes them feel and shit. Which is like a sentiment that I really fucking appreciate. You know what I mean? Because
Same
instead
here.
of being like, oh, we have to fuck really, really hard, which is also kind of what happens. Instead of it just being that, it's this fight scene that's like, that's also a fuck scene, is like, there's like 10 minutes in universe of them just sort of like talking about shit. And being like, oh, like, you fucking, like, I don't remember exactly what they were saying, because, like I said, it was baked as hell, but I'm sure it was something like, oh, like, you make me feel bad because you're, like, with this other girl or something. What the fuck were they talking about, actually? I'm just guessing. I'm throwing shit at
It's
the
just
wall.
like, Hero's like, oh, I'm not 0-2, so I can't do it. And then, Ichigo's like that. And then
that lines up with the sex metaphor real good.
and then Hero's like, well, we did do this kiss, which is also a sex metaphor. We did this one thing, so maybe if I do that one thing, that'll make me able to pilot together.
Yeah, maybe that'll get me
And that
erect.
doesn't work either. And I think that basically means that they don't work well together, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he couldn't get hard. Didn't
Apparently not.
it end in them, like, they try really hard and they win? Isn't that what happened?
Okay,
They,
so
like,
what?
Kick the
Yeah.
shit out of Shota-boy.
Yeah, what happens is that they call a timeout after like desynchronizing. So the other mech stays off for a while, and what happens is Ichigo and Hero try to kiss because Hero's like, hey, it worked with 0-2. So they do it, and Hero wasn't feeling it, as we said, and the other mech gets a little bored and just starts wrecking Hero and Ichigo. So what Ichigo does is that, yeah, what Ichigo does is that she starts piloting it without Hero's control.
Oh yeah.
And that's very
Right.
dangerous apparently, but nothing really
And
happens to her.
masturbation is very dangerous.
Yes, Christian values.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fuck, I fucking hate this show.
And Pigtails Girl.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, other than like after them like Ichigo forces just piloting it on her own. Both the mechs are out of commission for a second, or for the rest of the episode. And Ichigo's there crying, and it's a pretty deep scene. I appreciate it a lot. And she's just like there, just like a kind of embarrassed and kind of unhappy and disappointed.
Fuck, I
situation.
sympathize with that. I've felt that way after sex before. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, so I really do appreciate the sex
Actually,
themes here.
Now that I think about it, the first time I did sex, we did try, and then it didn't work, and then we talked about it, and then I ended up just jerking off, and then crying afterwards.
Basically same.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
I fucking hate this show.
It's the mock battle. It ended, and
straight couples are the only couples that you can have. Men are always the ones having sex with women. Monogamy is the only way to go. Masturbation is bad. What other bullshit is in here?
Sex metaphors are real.
all this propaganda. I
would
just
like to
can't handle
say
it.
About all the sexuality in general, especially 02 sexuality, is that it is incredibly ham-fisted.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the entire episode.
Yeah.
It especially with 02, it's just like, oh yeah, fuck, sex, dicks, vaginas, sex, fucking. Can you see we're being?
Sex.
Can't you tell that we're making sexual innuendos? Can't you tell?
Well,
This show is about sex.
Well, because it's good. It's perfect, actually. It's the perfect show to get the show received really well, because you're gonna have like dumb people who think that they're critics, who say that the show is just like Evangelion, and it's actually like a genius commentary about sex, even though it just uses sex symbolism and doesn't actually say anything interesting about it. As I've already outlined, all of the values that underpin this are super incredibly like normcore and basically outdated, and I don't give a fuck, because you can't say anything interesting about that. And because it's nothing new to me, it's already been said. It's just straight like underage sex, and that's in like every fucking high school drama that you can catch on television.
Basically.
And then the dumb people are just gonna make memes out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
which
people
has already happened.
Yeah, all of the people I watched, like Chibi reviews, just talked about like memes about how it's like they're fucking kind of like people are sharing GIFs on 4chan. The entire fucking thread on A yesterday was just GIFs and WebMs and just memes about how like sexual the show is. It was dumb. It's really dumb, but people love it because it's the perfect storm.
It's good for marketing.
Yeah, like people just it's gonna apply to both, you know?
Oh
yeah. Gonna appeal.
I mean, you say it's Kill la Kill?
What do you mean?
I was about to say it's kind of like the reception of Kill la Kill, right? Where like you have people that hate Kill la Kill for just because of it has fan service at all. And you have the people that like Kill la Kill because they're like, oh well, the fan service is part of the plot, which I agree with, right? The fan service is important. There's good metaphors and good discussion about sexuality and nudity.
Kill la Kill says interesting new things.
In Kill la Kill. But that's kind of still like the subpart. And then Charles Dunbar, the god that he is, was like, oh yeah, here's all these metaphors for imperialism that are underlying in the whole plot. And I'm just like, Charles Dunbar, you're a god, and you strike once again. If anybody ever gets a chance to see Charles Dunbar do a lecture at an anime convention, highly recommend it. That guy is a genius.
Yeah, I saw that video and I thought it was dumb.
Yeah, it sounds dumb.
Really? Oh no, I think Charles Dunbar is brilliant.
I mean, I thought it was like overthought and like I don't care.
Oh, dope.
For me, Kill la Kill is more about like rebellion and shit, and then Gurren Lagann does that better. So what's left with Kill la Kill is like the basic plot and like the sex stuff.
That's still there. I mean, I just think I appreciate the kind of depth that Charles Dunbar goes into and makes it makes none of it seem forced. It's just like
Right.
he's just like, yeah, that all is just there if you know what you're looking for.
It's almost
you know?
like it's what like game theory should be. Like that.
Yeah,
kind
kinda. But I think we're getting off track now.
Yeah,
That's okay.
all we have left to talk about, honestly, is the ending theme. I know we already said a bit about this, but I don't think Lucy said anything about the ending theme.
I was too high to remember anything. I think I checked out at this point.
Yeah, the episode ended on the theme, so...
Yeah.
Any last things you guys want to mention before we...
I would like to talk about the ending theme a little bit, because I did really like the ending theme a lot. A lot more than the opening. I like the song better, as well as I just love seeing all the main characters in their fucking normal clothing, cause it's actually good as shit. They're like normal, they're wearing normal school outfits and other stuff, and it actually looks like good. And they look really cool. Yeah, and then there's 02 running, and it's animated so well.
Yeah,
her running
I really
animation
like
is so
theme.
good in the end of in the ending, and I liked it a lot. I have to say,
I
and they're in
don't
a normal city or some shit.
Yeah, I don't
or at least
understand
looks
what
like...
city they're in, because it's not the
But-
the inside of the shell city is orange and shit. But this was really dope. Yeah.
It's fine, but that is the best all the characters have looked through this entire show so far is in the ending theme.
It's almost like giving characters unique outfits that have color and shit makes the show better.
What? No, that's not a thing that
Unique
happens.
character designs.
That sounds
Who needs
cuckoo
them?
bananas.
We should just put them in fucking gendered
identical
identical clothes. They're just different between the genders and have X's and Y's.
And that's
on them.
all they wear.
And that's all they wear.
I haven't seen them in anything else besides that and the mech suit.
I mean, they don't do anything else
that's
outside of that.
But even then, she's in uniform.
Yeah.
It's lame.
But it is lame, but it doesn't. She at least stands out from the other characters visually.
Yes, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
This show sucks.
So yeah. Second episode, a lot more self-indulgent. I appreciated it, and I think it's picking up speed for me. Before, I would have called. I was feeling what was it, a 5 or a 6? Now I'm feeling more 7.
Wow.
You know?
Ooh, wow. That makes sense though. If you like the show, I think, I've talked to other people who like the show, and everything they say about why they like episode 2 makes sense for episode 2 being I mean, I agree that episode 2 was better than episode 1, but episode 1 was also a hot steaming pile of garbage.
All these bad first episodes this season.
And episode 2 was we're not that bad. We know what we're doing, kind of. And it looks more and it runs more like an actual show with purpose. Slightly. So I got to give it that. And I understand why people like it more. There's more development of Ichigo and 02, and even Hiro a little bit. You get to see more of the characters. You get to see some mech action. I totally get why people would like the show even more after episode 2. Totally makes sense.
So I wanted to throw out there, fucking Vamp. Devilman Crybaby had a good first episode. Fucking go and watch it. And also, fucking this. Okay, so what I wanted to say about this episode is the visceral experience that was better. I enjoyed it more sitting down and watching it, especially since I was baked. And however, the ideas that were underlying it and where it was trying to go makes it clear how much more of an artistic and ideological flop it is for me. I'm more offended by the show now, and I think that it's a steaming pile of garbage as a piece of art, but it's also better at the same time because I want to blow my brains out less when I'm watching it. So I really don't know what to do with my score.
Episode 2 was better, but I think episode 2 also enforced how bad the show is overall.
Yes.
Even though it itself was a better episode than episode 1, I would say.
Yeah, so I would say it's a lot more self-indulgent. I love it on a moment-to-moment basis a lot more. And I just want to add
I
that
agree.
Kill la Kill is actually not that deep. And I think you're kind of overselling it on its themes.
Well,
Although it does have many
that's for
themes.
Kill la Kill cast.
Yeah, let's leave that for another day.
Kill la Kill's great.
Agreed. 10 out of 10, actually.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
All right. Bye-bye, folks.
Bye.
That's all for now. See you in a week.